Bekele. In the Belgian cross-country races, the board Ethiopian is the big challenger for people distance. Beware of the new Belgian frontrunner. France, Great Britain and Northern Ireland, as well as Poland, are the favourites for the team rank.
Les hommes de moins de 23 ans de course qui s'annoncent très ouverts, avec deux noms typiquement européens en tête de ligne, les favoris de cette course, l'Italien Andrea Galli et le Britannique Andy Vernon. Ils étaient 4e et 3e l'an dernier, mais ont impressionné cet hiver en retour de prix connu senior. Andrea est le meilleur course de la volonté et Andy a gagné la course de sélection à Liverpool.
Men's under-23 race about to get underway. And after the success of the British women in the under-23, it would be great to see our men perform well here. Certainly Andy Vernon got a very good chance individually, but I think this is going to be a tough race to win some good athletes in this race. Former junior winner Amdouni from France. There's Andy Vernon, and has taken 2 medals in these championships as a junior, the silver and the bronze in this race last year. Won the senior trial, well, won the trial effectively. They all just ran together, and then those who were eligible for under-23 were chosen for this race. There's a famous name, isn't it? If not exactly the same athlete, Bekele, running for Belgium. But there's the big sprint up to this first turn. It really is a sprint, isn't it? I'm not sure I'd be able to keep up with that. It's been interesting. It's just, you know, you go pelting into this first bend here, and the brakes come on round the corner. Let's see if everyone gets around safely. Well, they have done, thank goodness. I'm never quite sure why they need to have such a tight turn so early. I'm sure it's not totally necessary, but nonetheless, there's a young man I was just mentioning, the French athlete there, Mourad Amdouni, in the blue vest of France, already to the fore. That looks like Ozturk of Turkey, just sprinting through to the front in the red vest. Try and pick out some other names to look out for. In fact, his teammate Bayrak will be, there's Ozturk, Bayrak will be one to watch. He's actually the little Turkish athlete. There he is, in the diminutive figure, just in the group. Andy Vernon, as I mentioned, leading the British team. John Beattie, Alex Derricott, Keith Gerrard from the Isle of Man, Ben Lindsay and Tom Russell, the other team members. So again, they'll be looking to run well as a group, run well as a pack, and hopefully get themselves into the team positions here. So this race held over 8,000 metres, so there are 2 small laps of 1,000 metres and then 4 of the larger laps. Try and keep count for you. Interesting one, this, Bren, isn't it? I mean, coming back to the discussions we've been having before about under-23s and the value of this event, and whether the good athletes bypass it and move on straight into the seniors. But certainly the likes of the French guy I was mentioning, Amdouni, he's an example of a good junior athlete who's decided to have a go at this. But for the likes of Andy Vernon, perhaps this is just the right sort of race, the sort of confidence he gets from winning, hopefully winning a medal here. He bronze medal last year, certainly helped him. There he is on the left.
Well, Andy Vernon in the middle of the pack. He's the athlete who we're expecting to be the best performer in the British team. But there's a very interesting athlete in 3rd place now. That's Bayrak, who's representing Turkey, an athlete from Ethiopia, an athlete who finished 11th in the Olympic Games in the 10,000 metres. Clearly a class apart if it came to track running. 27.29 for 10,000 metres. There's nobody in this field can go within half a minute of that. But there he is in the small figure on the outside, just glancing across, just looking, deciding to make his mark, completely in control of his running right there now, and moving into 3rd place, the class athlete of this field in every sense. 13.26 for 5,000 metres last year, but he only ran one of them. But he's 27.29 for 10,000 metres tells me that this race and this course, 8,000 metres, Bayrak, Selim Bayrak of Turkey, whose transferee, as Mark Butler, our statistician, calls these people. He moved from Ethiopia, take a better chance at the Olympic Games. And you think about it, if he'd been running for Ethiopia, he wouldn't have made the Olympic Games team. But there he is on the outside, a beautiful mover. I've seen him in action before. I thought he ran great in the Olympic Games. His first appearance there. He's only 21 years of age, and he's the athlete there in the red vest with the white collars. They're looking across. Amdouni gesturing. He won the junior race last year. He's obviously stepping up in distance and having a word or two with his some of the other athletes, telling them, don't bump into me and don't kick my heels, but that's a common cry.
Well, they're just settling down, aren't they? And a good early pace being set here. The British athletes just sitting off this early pace a little bit, which might be a wise thing to do. Not too far away from the front, though. Let's see Andy Vernon just pushing on to about 10th place, perhaps, something like that. One or two others to perhaps watch out for. There's been one or two suggestions that there's a couple of Belarus athletes in this who might go well. Rogovtsov. I'll try that again. Rogovtsev. Just watch out for him. But that leading group just starting to split up a little bit. John Beattie up there with Andy Vernon. I think Keith Gerrard just behind him as well. Yes, indeed. There's three of them then. So in the top 12, perhaps. So that's a good start for the British team. Just need one of the others to just take a little bit closer order. Ben Lindsay just coming through the picture there. He might well be the fourth counter, but I might have missed one or two. But at the front, this early pace being dictated by Bekele. Just a little slip there from one of the Polish athletes just behind.
Still in front with Belgian Bekele and Andrea Lally.
Just trying to work this out, Bren, on the laps. So I said it was 2 times 1,000 metres. Now, that's the home straight they're in there. And they've been running for nearly 6 minutes. So if I missed that, they've done 2 laps. That would be pretty darn quick, wouldn't it, if that was accurate?
We'll get the information. There's Russell. Tom Russell from Bristol come through. So the British team really are having a good run here today. But you look at the front and there's some class athletes up the front. Bekele, Lally, Andy Vernon is joining the group. Amdouni, Bayrak. Andy Vernon running well to be on contention with these athletes. If you look at the times that they've run, 27.29 for 10,000 metres by Bayrak. So Andy Vernon to be in competition with these guys is absolutely brilliant.
It's good to see John Beattie up there as well, another athlete who has spent most of the last 3-4 years in the States and has come back home now. He was at University of Tulsa, he's now down at Southampton, coached by Nick Anderson, who's here as part of the team management. Nick Anderson, team manager for the senior event, of course coming up in a little while, but the British team packing well. Keith Gerrard hanging on to those two as well, and that group just pulling well away. A bit of a gap starting to appear there, which is good to see. And having completed 3 laps, 3.5 kilometres, 2 small laps and 1 big, we've got 4.5k to go. And the more you can forge on, push ahead, make the right judgment. Here's Ben Lindsay coming through now in the 4th count, and he's certainly moving through the field. He's not going back at all. He's making good progress. So I've got a feeling that when we see this team caption come up, Britain might well be right up there. The French were leading it. There can't be much between the French and the British team now. But Lally looks comfortable, doesn't he? Just having a little across. But I have to say, Andy Vernon looks nice and relaxed, just sitting where he wants to be. Yes, indeed, the British team are leading that. There's a caption, 35 points. Been a bit of a change there. But individually and in the team race, things going well at the moment. He does look comfortable, Brent, doesn't he, Andy Vernon?
He does. Amdouni has just joined them, and Bekele looks to me as though he's struggling. He's really limping there. And the 2 other British athletes, Keith Gerrard and John Beattie, go past him. But that race is getting competitive at the front. Andy Vernon running well. And I think it's great for him. But look at Bekele. He really is struggling. He really is limping. He's pulled across to the side. And I don't think he's going to feature largely in this one. Looks like he's pulled a hamstring. to me. But 3 British athletes in that first 6. So team-wise, they're looking good and looking strong. And Bekele now gesturing to the side. He'd be silly to keep going. He should pull out now. Get out of the way. The mud's no good for you in your condition. It's doing himself damage as he keeps running with clearly a problem with his hamstring. But Andy Vernon running confidently now in that group, and it's great to see that the group's pulling clear. The 6 of them in that leading group, as we continue. The local director concentrating on Bekele, the Ethiopian athlete who now is running for Belgium. Lally looks comfortable. Bayrak is the class athlete of this field, and we're still looking down the field and looking back at Bekele, but we're looking now. Lindsay's coming through for Great Britain, and the British team scorers here are doing extremely well. They've had a great day so far, and this is another one. There you are. Don't push him too hard, Andy Vernon, because there's Bekele. I said I think it's sensible if he drops out, but just looking back there, Andy Vernon pushed Bayrak. I wouldn't push him too hard, Steve, because I think he might run away from them if you do.
Lally maybe just picking things up a little bit here. The 3 British athletes still very much to the fore. Andy Vernon not quite covering this move yet. Bayrak goes with the Italian. Bronze medal last year, don't forget, for Andy Vernon in this race. Very much set his sights on doing well here. But as each year more juniors come through, it's obviously a changing landscape in terms of the athletes in this race. And Lally looking very comfortable. He's a nice looking runner, isn't he? Very compact, just moving over the ground very nicely indeed. Well, there's the team situation, and with 3 of our athletes in the top 6 there, it's looking very good at the moment. And Ben Lindsay improving. Ben Lindsay's being backed up. Not too far behind him, I think, is Tom Russell. So even if Ben Lindsay were to fade, and he's not, he's actually, you can see that he's moved into the top 10 now. So Ben Lindsay backing up the 3 who are in that lead pack. Keith Gerrard just trying to hang on to that group there. So there will be some changes, but just looking at where the other teams, that's the French and the Italians looking pretty good at the moment, but not as good as the British. There's Tom Russell just backing up Ben Lindsay. If he could take a few more places, that would be good. So all in all, as Ben was saying, it's been a good day so far, and more success likely in this race, at least in the team race, if nothing else. But Andy Vernon working hard to try and keep medals within sight. Wants to hang on to that little group there if he can. Things do continue to change, and yes, the front 2 in particular are running fairly comfortable. Amdouni's had a little bit of a bad patch, not as bad as Bekele though. Not quite sure, like you said, Bren, once if you've tweaked something, then what's the point in keeping going? You're just going to keep slowing down, and you're not helping your team. It's nice to try and keep going when you're having a bad run to help your team, but not if you're injured.
Andrea Lally of Italy, Bayrak running for Turkey, the Ethiopian athlete, then Amdouni, the French athlete who has run well in these championships. He won the junior race last year, and this is a good step for him. I think it's a wise step for a 19, 20-year-old to move to the under-23s. But if you look at Bayrak, number 302, the athlete from Ethiopia, beginning to stretch now, beginning to run alongside on the inside, but there's no athlete in this championships who ran any better than him in the Olympic Games, so I don't know why he's chosen to run the intermediate championships, i.e. the under-23s, because he finished 11th in the Olympic Games, Bayrak, and nobody's run faster than him over this kind of distance. However, he's met his match in this race, but we're looking at 2 athletes who would be exceptional if they both took part in the senior race. Lally, 21-year-old European junior cross-country champion 2 years ago. Last year he finished 4th in this race, so his step to the senior championships is going to include this intermediate step. But Bayrak, if he's in good form, if he's fit as he was last summer, he's got to be the athlete who you think was going to win this one. Good performance now by Andy Vernon. Amdouni drops behind, so Vernon coming through and looking strong. Last year's junior champion Amdouni's behind Andy Vernon, and I remember being extremely impressed with Andy Vernon last winter in Edinburgh when he tried to steal the cross-country race from Andy Badley, and eventually was only out-sprinted by Andy Badley. But he looks to me as though he's a good cross-country runner, but a good cross-country runner like this, like Andy Vernon here, could become a good 5,000 or 10,000 metre runner.
just beyond halfway. Lally of Italy leading from Bayrak of Turkey, Andy Vernon of Great Britain just about 15 metres behind these two. Bayrak just taking a little slip on the corner there, but former junior champion in this event, Lally, in 2006, taking on the man from Turkey who had such a good summer. And Andy Vernon, who was in bronze medal position last year, finds himself in exactly the same place at this stage, but with his eyes on the front two. And the British team working well behind Andy Vernon. John Beattie moves into 4th place. Keith Gerrard sitting in 6th at the minute. Then that's Ben Lindsay in about 8th or 9th place, packing well, and that would put the British team in the lead at this point.
Andrea Lally from Italy testing Bayrak, the more accomplished track runner. Lally now really making an effort, and Andy Vernon just sticking to his task in 3rd place. He certainly continued. They slowed down a little and then the pace increased, but Andy Vernon has not been bothered at all by the course or by the opposition. So this is a good performance by Andy Vernon, who finished 3rd in this event last year. He won the recent trials for this event amongst the seniors as well as the under-23s. And Lally, to me, well, he ran a good cross-country race in Italy a few weeks ago alongside a class field of athletes, so he's clearly in good form. The athlete who has got the pedigree in this race is the athlete Bayrak from the Ethiopian, running for Turkey in 2nd place. And Amdouni that we're looking at in 3rd place, well, that's just a few minutes ago, but Amdouni's been overtaken by Andy Vernon. So there you can see the first 3, Andy Vernon in 3rd place, and then the other 2 British athletes, John Beattie and Keith Gerrard, running together in 3rd and 4th, in 4th and 5th place. So the British scorers are looking good and looking strong and really working well. Amdouni's now dropped back, and it's Gerrard and Beattie, both of them doing a very, very good performance here today. And also Lindsay, Ben Lindsay from Aldershot Farnham District coming through, and that's great. Another athlete coached by Mick Woods, who's really having an exceptional day at this championship today.
Tom Russell still going well, but this is increasingly looking like an Italian victory here. Lally going well. Now Andy Vernon has got Bayrak in his sights, and it would be a good scalp to get, as Brendan was saying, by far the best performer at the Olympic Games, a former Somalian, now under pressure from Britain's best this year, Britain's best on the country. I'm saying that because Mo Farah hasn't run yet, hasn't competed yet, but certainly performing well. A lap to go, and Lally of Italy looks behind and sees his lead is a substantial one. Bayrak of Turkey just starting to look a little bit tired in 2nd place, with Andy Vernon bearing down on him, looking to improve on last year's performance. Then there's a bit of a gap, with Britain's 2nd and 3rd counters performing well. John Beattie and Keith Gerrard in a battle for 4th place, very much giving Britain an excellent chance in the team event, because Ben Lindsay is not too far behind them. That will put 4 counters inside the top 10, and that will be easily good enough to take the team title. But the individual gold medal looks as though it's heading to Italy, but Andy Vernon working hard to get himself into 2nd place. And there's the battle a little further down, a little look behind there from John Beattie, who's having an excellent race, as indeed is Keith Gerrard, but he's looked like the winner for a long time, Brent.
Well, Andrea Lally from Italy, we've had great Italian distance runners, but we haven't had one for a few years, and I wonder if this one is going to be the next one of a great crop of talented athletes from Italy. There's Bayrak in 2nd place, and Andy Vernon running more strongly now in this last lap. Less than 1,500 metres remaining, 3 or 4 minutes running left. Amdouni, the former junior champion, ahead of Beattie and Gerrard, and then Lindsay running an exceptional race here as we look at Andrea Lally, who won the Valpiano cross-country in Italy, and that's a good one, that's a big one. That's when people realised that this athlete was really outstanding. But look at Andy Vernon closing down on the athlete who ran 27.29 in the 10,000 meters to finish 11th in the Olympic Games in Beijing, and really he needs to draw strength from that. Look at the class of this man, and look at the competition now that Andy Vernon is putting pressure on him to try and get past. So this has got to be something he's got to reflect on. He's running powerfully against the 10,000 meter specialist, and an athlete who's more than a minute faster than him over 10,000 meters, now been overtaken. But Andrea Lally looking comfortable here. He looks strong as he powers here well into the last lap, and now when he's in a position like this, he can relax. He knows there's nothing much coming from behind. He hasn't even bothered to glance behind yet as these two battle it out. But Andy Vernon looks to me like a big strong athlete who can do well at the country and at 5 and 10,000 meters in the future, and he really needs to get the confidence boost. He was third in this event last year. Can he do better than that? And this is a good performance by the Italian, though.
Lally moving very nicely over the ground, has another look behind, but no worries there. He's going faster than the people behind him. He's pulling away, if anything. It's been a very impressive and dominating performance. Andy Vernon, though, improving all the time at this level, as Brent said. He's got the strength of the country. You know, I mean, he runs 3:42 for 1500 as well. You'd think in the middle there somewhere, you're good cross country, you can run 3:42. I know that's not brilliant at 1500, but he's got the ability to run a good 5000, a good, maybe a steeplechase, a 3K, something like that. And as you said, you have to take the confidence from these endurance performances and translate that onto the track when you look at some of the athletes he's beating. Not as good as Lally today, no doubt about that. However, Andy Vernon performing well. He finished behind Lally in the junior ranks. He was ahead of him last year by 1 place, in fact, because Lally was just outside of the medals behind Andy Vernon, who took the bronze last year. Positions reversed this time. The Italian looking strong, but Andy Vernon's had a good race. He didn't give it up when it looked as though 3 of them were pulling away. He kept working, kept plugging away, using his strength, and now heading towards the silver medal. And then there's a right battle going on behind.
Look how strongly Andy Vernon's powering to the finish, and when he looks at the results, he's got to look at this man. 27.29 10,000 meters. As we look at Andrea Lally, the clear winner of this race, looking over his shoulder with some interest only for this time, but 2 years ago he won the junior. Last year he finished 4th in this under 23 position, and now he's enjoying the acclaim of the crowd here. A salute to the crowd. A good Italian athlete over long distance is something that I used to be familiar with, and now here's another one.
Well, the Italians haven't had too much to cheer about in recent years in athletics, but they'll be very pleased to see Lally taking this European under-23 title. He's got another year at least in this age group. Takes the gold medal ahead of a fast-finishing Andy Vernon. A very strong performance from him. One better than last year. The silver medal for Vernon. Bayram looks very tired as the cavalry charge comes behind him. As he looked behind, will he take the bronze? Yes, he will indeed. Is that Ben Lindsay coming through? Might take 4th. What a run by him towards the end there. Just coming in ahead of John Beattie and Keith Gerrard. That will confirm Great Britain, though, in gold medal position as far as the team race is concerned. Excellent packing from the rest of the team as Tom Russell just crosses the line just outside the top 10. Well, another successful race for the British team. Individual medal and the gold medal in the team race. Those presentations will be up pretty sure. And if you've been watching us on our interactive on the Red Button service, then I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll be live on BBC Two in about 15 minutes, just less than 50 minutes, for the 2 senior races and a quick look back and what's already happened this morning. So we'll see you there.
Alors, nous en sommes dans la territoire. équipe, la victoire, je le dis, de la Grande-Bretagne, bien évidemment, avec pas mal d'athlètes dans le top 10. Donc en deuxième position, Andy Byrne, 4e Lindsay, 6e Grady, 7e Gerard, 13e Russell et 39e Derricott. Deuxième place à l'interéquipe pour l'Italie, et bien sûr la médaille d'or avec Andrea Lally. Troisième place pour la France à l'interéquipe, 4e la Pologne, 5e la Turquie,